Hello, everyone. I kind of figured we would take a break from the jock scientist this week, mostly because I feel like making poor life decisions. Uh, because I started this out ready to send you guys to the Etsy shop that has exactly one thing on it to kind of promote the recipe and the crochet patterns I'm going to be putting up there eventually. And I wanted to test out the discount code thing. Well, I'd signed out and tried to sign back in, only for it to say like I need two-factor authentication with my phone, but my phone's dead because I haven't charged it in like 4 days. So yeah, bad life decisions all around. Bad life decision to sign out of that account, bad life decision to not charge my phone. So let's just continue on with bad life decisions and go ahead and listen to at least the first half of the second episode of Unsolicited Fatties Talk Back, which is titled Is Bacon a Fruit? And the little description thing says, Help, I've lost 30 pounds, but my husband won't stop telling me to lose more. So this should be pretty interesting. And I've talked on long enough, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it.
Hello and welcome back to our second episode of Unsolicited Fatties Talk Back, the podcast where fat people talk back to shitty husbands, bad donuts, and Instagram. My name is Brian Guffey. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm a grilled cheese cronut.
I'm Marcus Mercedes. My pronouns are she, her, and today I'm your good old-fashioned vanilla glazed.
I don't know what's with the food shit that they're doing, but I do want to interject here real quick saying I will not remember who anyone fucking is except maybe Jordan Underwood. Like that's going to be the most that I remember. I'm not going to remember whose voice belongs to which name. It's not going to happen. That's unfortunately the way I am. I cannot tell you how many times someone has approached me. They know me. They know my mother. Do I remember them? Fuck no. Like it takes my mother or my sister having to remind me of where I met them. I am so terrible with remembering people's faces, people's names. It is my biggest blind spot. So just quick defense here. I'm not going to remember anybody.
My name is Deshaun Harrison. My pronouns are they, them. And today I am the tasty, luxurious, fresh strawberry and cream cheese filled donut.
Jenny, what is with the weird fucking I'm whatever sort of donut? Like I don't. Is it because that's like their logo is the donut or what?
Yes.
Sounds delicious.
My God. Okay. Me? I'll go. Okay. Hi, I'm Jordan Underwood. I use they, he pronouns. And my donut was actually already said. I was going to say a glazed donut. But I guess since I was taken already, I'm an apple cider donut. Specifically from Apple Dave's. You don't need to know who Dave is.
I think I need to know who Dave is. Who is Dave?
You don't need to know. Apple Dave is doing it. He's doing it right, and he's doing it well.
My name is Caleb Luna. I use they, them pronouns. And today I am a blocked donut with script on it that reads, fuck Instagram.
Yes.
Because Instagram has deleted my account for temporarily.
I hate to see it.
Ridiculous.
Do we think...
Okay, genuine question. For all of the controversies and shit that I've, like, how many people I've pissed off, because I can think of 4 different fat acceptance people that have found my channel and been pissed off about it. I have still yet to ever have an account deactivated or banned or any of that shit that I did not do myself. Like, genuinely. I am very, like, you have to really push the line in order to get your account banned. What the fuck did you do? Like, they always act like it's, an unjust whatever. I've never had that happen to me. So, genuine question, what the fuck did you do?
I think that every fat person on Instagram has had their account threatened.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Oh, bullshit. Do not tell me that it is because you are fat. There are plenty of fat people that have never had their account threatened or deactivated or banned or whatever. The fat acceptance group is a unique sort of group that tends to be very aggressive, very rude, and far more dehumanizing than any of their so-called haters they claim to be towards them are. Like, with very few exceptions. We're not talking about trolls. We're talking about like the anti-FA community. Because it is worth noting there is a distinct difference. I get trolls too. Plenty of people get trolls. There's a big difference between trolls and FA, and there's a big difference between trolls and anti-FA. There's a big difference there. So, like, I don't like the narrative that, oh yes, always poor for fat people are getting their accounts banned because you're fat. No. No, what the fuck did you do? I want to know what you did.
For sure.
It's all right.
Just wondering.
We're just going to take them over.
I was just wondering.
They named it Meta, but they don't realize we're just going to like take it over and we're going to rename it Meat and then run it.
Meat?
Yep. Only fat people allowed on Meat.
Oh my god.
Wait, what's Meta?
Oh, that's
Okay, it doesn't
Facebook's
matter.
new name.
What?
Facebook has rebranded.
No.
Well, okay. No, but not Facebook. I think that they created like a
No,
new...
no. Caleb, go ahead.
Anyways.
Oh, wait, no, I thought you were introducing something.
No, Jordan.
I am.
Oh,
That's why we
Jordan,
talked
oh,
about
brother. Okay.
This is the
Anyways.
best podcast that has ever been created.
Oh my god.
It's true.
Anyways,
Honestly, so if you're ADHD, I hope you're enjoying this.
Wait a second. Did anyone else get their diagnosis very late in life? Did anyone else? Me, I got mine this year.
ADHD.
You don't? You don't?
I just want to, tell the listener that literally 90% of what we said so far is not part of the program. So, so this is what you get.
Kind of like how they spent the first 30 minutes of the last episode talking about their favorite candy, and it wasn't even good candy, it was shit candy. Like, here's the thing, like, you guys have a podcast. Don't get me wrong, side tangents and things are going to be something that happens. It happens in my videos. Like, you just get on a train of thought and it will sometimes get away from you. Totally get that, but you guys keep opening with this ramble shit. I don't, like, no wonder you guys have been so inconsistent with this. I can't imagine that you guys got consistent viewership with starting out your podcast like this.
When you listen to Unsolicited.
No, Brian, I do not have ADHD. I'm just like this.
You're a blessing.
Jordan is our sole non-ADHDer, our token non-ADHDer. Thank
Because
you.
I actually don't
diversity
have
is
ADHD.
important.
Oh.
You don't?
No?
I don't.
Oh.
Wow.
I know, it's very weird.
Wow, Deshaun, we're connected.
Well, we're not because you do have ADHD.
I'm done! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wow, I've been diagnosed.
No,
Going to
maybe
therapy next
maybe I do
week.
have ADHD, but I really don't know. Wait, do you seriously not have ADHD?
No!
Oh, I thought you were joking.
No, I literally don't. I have a lot of diagnoses, but ADHD is not one of them.
This is the most beautiful
Okay, that's
train wreck
totally
I've ever
fine.
seen in my life.
Anyways,
Like, and it's all staying in. Like,
Oh
it's
my
not
God.
coming out.
Yeah, no, it
There's
has
no
to.
way.
It makes the show.
God.
Brian, just cut it.
Or maybe this will be like,
It really doesn't make the show. I'm still waiting for you guys to get to the point. Like, at this point, I'm like, am I technically stealing content? Because there's literally nothing for me to react to. Like, you guys get 2 more minutes, and then I'll cut out a portion of it for you guys, so you guys don't have to listen to all this shit. But, like, you guys get, the hosts get 2 more minutes, and then I'm like, fast forwarding, because get to the point. Get to the point, please.
this will be like before we all come in. Like, this will just be some pre-show, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, no, it's cute.
We have all this fun stuff, yeah.
I actually really love it. It's fun. It's enjoyable. That's what people want to listen to podcasts for. At least I'm people in this case. So
Right.
This type of thing is acceptable about midway through the show when you're already invested and you don't mind like following the conversation where it goes. This sort of you say it's pre-show. You guys aren't really big enough yet. This is only the second episode. It's so not interesting yet to hear your pre-show talk sort of thing. Like it don't get me wrong, it can have its appeal, but it doesn't have its appeal when we don't even know who the fuck you are, when we are not yet invested in the podcast. This is only episode 2, and episode for anyone who you didn't lose in episode 1 with 30 minutes talking about shitty candy. I mean, come on.
Really,
Moving
if
on
folks didn't
to
know
our
we're
first
only.
segment.
Oh, say that again, Jordan.
I'm done. Jordan was like, all right, time to party. Let's go.
Moving on to our first segment of the day, donuts. What are they?
Do they know things? Let's find out.
Who are you? What is a donut? Is a bagel a donut? What about
No.
what about a croissant that like touches in the center, like a circle croissant? Is that a donut?
well, they have cronuts.
All right, I cannot take the donut talk. I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I'm fast forwarding. We'll be back when we're done listening about fucking donuts. I'm so done. All right, so I have this bumped up to 1.5 speed just for my own sanity, and they finished talking about their initial donut talk, but now they're talking about someone having beef with Dunkin' Donuts, which could potentially be interesting. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to that, and hope that it doesn't bore us to tears. But for the record, we're about 7 minutes into their 1 hour and 9 minute podcast, and we're talking about donuts. So when the title of this is 1, is bacon a fruit, and 2, it's apparently, again, it's all supposed to be based on their response to this old advice column, but they still are not even getting to that point. So fun times. Let's just see where it goes.
That
Oh
explains it.
God, you're from Boston, Jordan?
No, I'm from Toronto, but I grew up in Boston and I've lived in New York for almost 10 years.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm from the Northeast.
Caleb,
All right,
take the Dunkin' Donuts speech.
So years ago, I visited Boston for the first time for my cousin's wedding, and I was like, why the fuck is there Dunkin' Donuts on every goddamn corner? This is not a good donut. Yeah, I'm alienating our East Coast listeners right from the jump. What of it? I'm from Texas.
No.
We had a Shipley's donut, far superior. I will hear no challenges to this.
There are
But
none.
I was just, like, what the fuck is Dunkin' Donuts? And I just need East Coasters to know that, like, they're not universally loved because they're not good.
I just have to be specific. You're talking to white East Coasters, okay? The rest of us do not like Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I don't like Dunkin' Donuts, and I've lived in New York basically
The
my whole life.
chocolate Dunkin' Donuts, like they taste like fucking crumbs. Like if you put like a bunch of crumbs together, that's what their donuts taste like. It's horrible. Jordan, I'm sorry, we are isolating you on this call, but you know, I don't like. It's true. I've never liked Dunkin' Donut. I feel like, you know, when I eat a donut, what I really want from a donut is like a particular level of softness, like a particular level of like, well.
All right, I thought this was going to be far more interesting than it is, but now you guys got a preview of to what I'm listening through to wait until it becomes interesting again for you guys. Please never forget the sacrifice I make for you, and I'll see you when it gets interesting. Okay, so we have something potentially interesting for you guys to listen to. I'm going to go back 30 seconds. So that way you guys can hear the whole thing. But they're talking about different donuts and like ranking different donut places with Krispy Kreme being at the top. A lot of people hate Dunkin' Donuts. And then they talked about these apparent donuts that are at Starbucks that I wasn't aware of. And now it's like starting to get into something kind of worth talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and I backed it up about 30 seconds. I'm keeping it at 1.5 speed just for my own sanity. And I'm going to just go ahead and share it with you guys real quick.
Now I'm like, oh shit, people sometimes are really different. Because I could never, ever eat that donut and be like, yum. Like, what?
This is a reminder to every one of our film listeners out here. Fat people, we don't eat everything.
We really
You can see
don't.
here, we have,
Right.
like, listen, we have
Here's
standards.
the-
Jordan and I may not, but like, some
I'm
fat people have
sorry.
standards.
Okay, here's the thing though. I think that like my ability to gauge like what is a good or not good sweet thing was really impacted by my parents not allowing me to eat anything sweet growing up. And so then when I became an adult, I was like, oh, this is a donut. It's good because it's a donut. Does this make sense?
It actually does make total sense. It makes complete sense. I think it's easier to blame your whiteness, but I like.
So, genuine question, how does that jive with you guys that Jordan can't tell, like, tends to like all sweet things because she was denied sweet things as a kid? I'm very curious. My mother was very indulgent of sweet, like my sweet tooth growing up, so I can't relate to this, and I'm just curious of your point of view.
And I
But-
would agree with you on that. That too. That
No,
too.
but what you just said makes perfect sense. And actually, I would love like if there was. I mean, I know most people would not read this, but I would. If there was a study on that, like people who like gravitate towards particular foods just because they were denied it for so long, and that being part of diet culture. But that's a different topic for a different day.
I mean, that's like a whole thing. And it's interesting too because like
So I'm curious, like, here's the thing. I don't know if you can call it part of diet culture. We don't know the full extent of how limited Jordan's intake of sweet foods were. I don't know. Like, I understand that your parents limited it, but did you like not ever have a birthday cake because of it? Like, how extreme was it? It's a genuine question. How extreme was their restriction of sweet foods for you? And then the whole talk of like bringing diet culture into it, please elaborate on that, because is it just that the parents didn't want her to overindulge in sweet things and that's part of diet culture, or was it like, what do you mean by that? I'm guessing that they mean that um the limiting of sweet foods was due to the parents seeing sweet and sugar as bad, and that is part of diet culture. That would be my guess of where they're getting with that statement. But I would like to hear them elaborate it from their own point of view, you know?
I'm not even really like a sweets person. Like I'm much more favoring like a chips. Or, like-
That's room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel you. I'm a salty girl too.
A chips.
Oh,
Oh, Skittles.
the Reese's.
Y'all,
The
I told
Reese's.
y'all I keep candy in my home.
I'm so jealous of the Skittles right now. Like I have plenty of Reese's right here, but I haven't had a Skittle in so long. Like a good, like like a good Skittle
I
like
want
you can just
Skittles.
crunch into.
I'm
haven't had
dying
one.
because you just made me think of like Skittles as if they were grown on trees or some shit. Like, damn, this really good batch of Skittles.
I
It's
want
true.
I haven't had a
They are
good
grown
crop of
trees.
Skittles
Yeah.
since the war. Like,
The Skittles harvest wasn't good this year.
the
No,
Skittles
it's
harvest
true.
was
It
not
really is
this
true.
year, apparently.
So-
You cannot convince me that like Skittles and Starburst are not grown on trees. So that's true.
I love
Because it's so
Starburst.
juicy.
Wait, okay.
Does anybody have a,
Starburst.
It's like they don't realize that they perpetuate every stereotype of fat people with this podcast. And I mean, maybe that's their point. Maybe they're like, yeah, so what? Fuck you, which I mean, I guess go off. But I don't know. It's just like you guys. So much of the fat acceptance movement is like, fat people aren't obsessed with food. Fat people aren't um unhealthy. But all you guys do is talk about highly processed, sugary shit. And like that's taking up a good portion of, like, it's not even the central focus. You're supposed to be responding to advice columns from kind of like a fat acceptance point of view. We are 13 minutes in to this podcast. We are more than a seventh of the way through, and we are talking about donuts and candy and shit still. Still. Like, I know you guys talk about, oh, I like the pre-show talk. This is excessive. And it's boring as shit. But I guess I'll remember that this was not a podcast made for me. So, we'll just keep listening.
Like
This is an audio medium. I just want to tell the listeners I just pulled my my emotional support bags of candy into stream is what happened there when Jordan said that they're not a sweet person.
I just want to.
Did you register them?
I'm done.
To be able to take them in with you when you go
Yeah.
on the planes and stuff. By the way, so I know we talked about what type of donut we were feeling today, but Jordan, do you want to lead us through what everybody's favorite type of donut is?
Is that not what we did before?
Well, it might be for some people, but like for me, it's definitely not.
Okay, so Brian.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we're talking about donuts again. What's your favorite kind of donut? I don't give a shit what your favorite kind of donut is. This is so past what the general topic of, like, for fuck's sake, save this Save the food talk for the end, not the beginning. Like, this is just a general consumer mindset. No wonder your podcast, I don't think anything, let me see real quick. I'm curious. So the last podcast to be released was in July of 2023. No fucking wonder. Because like how do you keep podcasts like this going when you guys take so long to get to the point? I'm gonna save y'all from this, and I will listen to the stupid favorite fucking donut section and spare you. Alright, it seems like they're about to move into the main portion of the podcast finally. We are currently 22 minutes and 44 seconds in of an hour and 9-minute podcast, and they are just now getting into like the point of the episode. The only thing that you really missed was they were talking about their favorite donuts, and one said that she doesn't like any fruit on her pastries or desserts. Some starting to chime in, they don't either, but well, with the exception of this, they don't like fruit mixed in with their dinner. Someone said they don't, I think it was Jordan said that they don't like fruit, period. And then that's where the joke of is bacon a fruit came in because they are looking for an excuse to not eat fruit, basically. I think it was half joking, but it seemed also kind of half serious that they just genuinely, there's at least one of them just genuinely doesn't really care for fruit. And it's just kind of like you guys are only proving your haters right on so many different levels. But whatever, y'all talk about whatever the fuck you want to talk about. I'm just interested in the actual advice column and hearing what you guys have to say. So let's move into that. Given that this is an hour and 9 minutes, almost an hour and 10 minutes, I am going to stop this at the 35-minute mark, especially since I've been recording for about 22 minutes myself right now. And we'll just kind of see where we are at that point.
Things like the reason why we gathered here.
Of course.
I just have to say, I know that some of this is going to get cut out, but what cannot get cut out, like what has to be added in here, is me saying to Jordan that, you know, the fat activist in me wants to like, you know, support you in your dislike of fruit. I'm like, yes, honey, you know, eat or don't eat what you want. But then I'm also like, there's so many fruit in the world. And you're like, I don't like fruit. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Okay, so let me just say, it's just like I do theory like fruit, but in practice, I feel like fruits, like if you buy like a thing of raspberries and you're eating them, you're like yum yum yum, and then you're like, really? The chances that you're gonna get a gross one in there are so high.
Is that true?
In my personal experience, like, how do you, like, you can't, like, you just don't know if it's gonna be bad, and then you're eating it, and then you're like, ugh.
Well, okay, I know we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on for sure. But who is buying fresh raspberries just to eat out of the thing? I don't understand.
Bitch, I do. That's what I do for lunch sometimes. As like if I know I'm gonna exercise after work or something, I get like a pretzel slider grab and go thing from Safeway, as well as either if I can get it, this fruit tray that has strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries all in one. But if I can't get that, I like raspberries. So I grab a pint of raspberries and I eat it in my car for lunch. I don't understand why that's so weird. Raspberries are delicious on their own. Sometimes you get a raspberry that's very tart. Sometimes you get a raspberry that's mushy. It's fruit. It's natural. There's going to be variations. It's not some hyper-processed, hyper-palatable food that's going to be consistently the same. Now, if you have texture issues or you have, like, neurodivergency where you can't handle that thing, that's totally, like, I understand that. But just in terms of, like, general like or dislike of a fruit or something, it's like that for the average person, that's just part of natural food, is that there's going to be some variation within the container. I personally like when I get a sour one and that another one and it's sweet because it tastes that much sweeter, but that's me. Some people don't like that, and that's fine. But that doesn't mean raspberries are bad. And I still don't understand, like, why is it such a big deal to just buy a pint of raspberries and eat it out of the container? Like, why is that weird? Why is that considered weird?
I don't know.
Let's do it. Let's do this. Let's do the things.
You okay, Jordan?
I love this group.
I'm doing stunning.
Okay, so the reason for why we are here today is not to talk about donuts, fruit, or, whatever else we've been talking about. We're actually here to also talk about this Dear Prudence column. Prudence, I'm so sorry, sister girl, that you keep being the topic of conversation, but also...
No apologies necessary.
Absolutely not.
No, seriously, also,
Nobody
I
should
don't know what's
ever.
going on with this column. So, the title
No
of
apologies to Prudence ever.
no apologies. The title of the column is Help. I've already lost 30 pounds, but my husband won't stop telling me to lose more. Mikey's going to read the column to you all to just really contextualize why this is a bunch of bullshit, but that's what the conversation is going to go into. So take it away, Mikey.
All right, so this is from Exhausted Wife Losing It. My husband of 3 years and I are trying for kids, and so far, we've been unsuccessful. We decided to get medical help, and the doctor recommended that I lose some weight during the process. I am doing so. I've already lost 30 pounds in 3 months, but all my husband can talk about is that I need to lose more weight. He talks about it nonstop, and it's stressing me out a lot, which also isn't good for trying to get pregnant. I've asked him multiple times to lay off, but he doesn't stop. Also, my job is a contract and is ending next summer, so whenever he's not telling me to lose more weight, he's telling me to find another job ASAP. I'm applying to jobs left and right, but haven't had any interviews yet. He has trouble sleeping. This is such a tangled web. He has trouble sleeping and often stays up until 2 a.m. watching movies on his phone. But the noise from his phone affects my sleep quality, and he doesn't like wearing headphones to bed. This makes me even more exhausted during the day. I love him and don't want to get divorced, but I'm stressed out and exhausted, especially since he ignores my request to stop. Any suggestions?
Divorce him.
Literally divorce him.
I actually I would say couples counseling before divorce because it could, I think, there's a chance that he's not aware. Never underestimate someone's lack of self-awareness and their ability to change once they are made aware of it. So my suggestion would first be couples counseling. If he refuses, then perhaps you need to judge if this relationship is worth the stress that it's causing you. Personally, he does sound a bit like a man baby. She lost 30 pounds in 3 months. Lay the fuck, she's losing weight at already a very fast pace. Leave her alone. I don't know how big she is to begin with, but regardless, unless it's, honestly, regardless of how big she is, even if she's 400, 500 pounds, if she's consistently losing weight, and I understand that if she's 500 pounds, 10 pounds a month isn't that much, but if she's consistently losing that weight, she's making changes in ways that are probably sustainable for her. If she's relatively slim and losing weight that quickly, it does cause a little bit of concern for me. And I hope that she's getting guided by a doctor with all this weight loss. But on top of him kind of being an ass and continuing to pressure her when she is losing weight, I am one of those that's I understand that the doctor now, you could have lost 50 pounds this month, is an idea to have. If she's doing it by herself, though, I think consistency matters more. And if she is consistently losing 10 pounds a month, even if she's really heavy and that 10 pounds a month may not be super hard for her to lose, it's still consistent effort, and she needs to be left alone, and he needs to stop being an ass and pressuring her because it's not helping anything. And the fucking pressure about her to find another job, she's juggling. Have you ever tried to juggle multiple things at once and look for a job? It's hard. And it's not it's not like she's been 6 months without a job and you're worried about money. Leave her the fuck alone. And then on top of all of that, refusing to wear headphones and playing movies on your phone while your partner's trying to sleep is such a selfish asshole thing to do. There's so many things wrong here outside of the weight loss and him pressuring her and with the weight loss aspect. There's even more outside of that he's an ass. Propose couples counseling, especially since she still loves him and she doesn't want to get a divorce. So couples counseling would be the next logical step. If he refuses, you have some evaluation of the relationship to do. But that's my perspective. Now let's hear what they have to say.
Now.
Yeah, episode over.
Okay, and I feel I'm gonna be biased because when I was 13, I did tell my mom that she should divorce my dad, which she did 3 years later, and I am very pro-divorce. However, there's only one answer here, which is divorce him.
I'm actually married, and I would absolutely divorce my husband if this was a thing that was happening.
Yeah, I think my response to this is, for one, I want to go back to the lack of critical thought with the doctor telling this pregnant woman that she has to lose weight, and her being excited, yay, I'm gonna get pregnant and do that. I'm about to lose this weight, and I already lost 30 pounds in 1 month. No, pause, hold up,
you're changing the aspect of it right now. She's not pregnant. At least I didn't hear that she was pregnant. I heard that they were trying to get pregnant, and to facilitate fertility, she's losing weight to increase their chances, number one. And it was 30 pounds in 3 months, not 30 pounds in 1 month. Right? Didn't I hear that right?
And I know that so many fat folks do not like think critically about these things because so many of us have been deprived of having access to fat politics and fat studies, right? So like, heard you, understood. But doctors and like the medical family industry in general is so hell-bent on parents being thin, right? A lot of people don't know about the fact that
Excessive weight. If she's losing 30 pounds, even 30 pounds over the course of 3 months, that is an exceptional amount of weight loss if she's doing it in a healthy way, which means she probably started out a bit heavier, on the heavier side, to the point that it would affect her fertility. Like, weight does cause complications. I don't understand why you guys are acting like weight has absolutely, I mean, I know that's just fat acceptance talking points, but weight does impact other areas of your body. Like, it does impact your overall health and the way your body functions. Like, pretending that it doesn't at all is so not helpful. If you want to say it's uh, not the only factor that should be looked at, one, I would agree with that. If you want to say that it's not the primary factor that should be looked at, agree to disagree on that one, but like, I'm willing to listen to your point. If you say it has absolutely no impact whatsoever, you're deluding yourself. So, like, it's not that doctors want parents to be thin, it's that being excessively overweight impacts fertility. Like, it's not some conspiracy.
adoption agencies oftentimes will not allow fat parents to adopt children because they believe that you've already ruined your life and therefore will ruin your child's life, and they call it abuse for being fat, right? Like, and so doctors also ascribe to
So I know that there is some restriction for obese people in adopting a kid. From what I understand, adoption regulations for the US are pretty high. I don't know the full details, so I'm just gonna throw out a question here rather than a judgment, and that is, how heavy does the parent have to be before the adoption agency rules that they would not be a good fit parent? Are they so big that it would affect their mobility, and that's the primary concern? Are they so big that it makes the adoption agency question the nutrition that the child would get? Like, what goes into that is my question.
these really detrimental, harmful, like ideas about fatness and fat people that says that you will be a horrible parent if you are fat while pregnant. It's like, so many fat people get pregnant and have children, and there's nothing wrong with being fat. There's nothing wrong with being fat and pregnant. And if your child is born fat, which newsflash, a lot of children are, there's also nothing wrong with that. So like, that was the big
That's not like, chubby babies are not the same thing as the child being born fat. Can we not equate that, please? Because it's not the same thing. Obesity happens not through genetics, but through lifestyle choices, and in the case of children, how the parents care for them in a lot of ways. The food they give them, the amount of food that they give them, all of that. The monitoring of unhealthy foods plays a role in it. And the one thing that I do agree with is that you're not a bad person because you're fat, and you're not necessarily even a bad parent if you're fat, but it does make me question the activity levels and the nutrition that the child is getting. Now, if you are morbidly obese and trying to adopt a child, my concern would be, would you be able, because young children are unpredictable, and toddlers in particular love to go running off. So would you be able to successfully keep that child out of harm's way at your size? It's not necessarily that your size itself is the problem. It is your mobility and how quickly you could protect that child. Because it's different than, say, like someone in a wheelchair. Someone in a wheelchair can still react quickly. Someone in a wheelchair would also be a little bit more cognizant of maybe their limitations and would take precautions to best protect the child, because they would consider things that the average person does not. People who are morbidly obese often, at least from what I've seen, can overestimate their mobility and may not take necessary precautions to protect the child because they have an overinflated sense of what their capabilities are. So that's my perspective on that.
Red flag for me, not because like, you know, she didn't think critically about it, but because of how intertwined like the family structure and medical like anti-fatness are like deeply coupled by anti-fatness. So that was like a really big thing for me. But yeah, like, girl, divorce your husband. And I know, like, you know, love, you know, I love him and I get that. And I also know how much fat folks in particular feel like if we find something that resembles love, we have to hold on to it because no one else wants us, nothing else about us makes us feel worthy of that. So it's hard to be like, girl, divorce him and call it a day. Like, I totally get that. And I understand, you know, like the value that we place on love in the world and how much we want that and the devaluing that comes with feeling like you like failed love or like love failed you. But girl, I say read chapter 1 of Belly of the Beast. It was written by a really brilliant person, and I think you should read it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that you know there's just something really harmful that fat folks don't sit with that we should sit with about allowing ourselves to stay in really abusive situations, because this is abuse.
Yes.
And not leave that because of our desire to hold.
I would agree that it is, given the like constant nature of it, I would agree that it is abuse, or at the very least approaching abuse from the partner. But that's but here's the thing, it could very much be situated in someone who is lacking self-awareness. This is why I'm very much for offer couples counseling. If they are a person worthy staying with, they'll at least give it a genuine try. Like, that's, I don't know, I'm kind of for giving people the chance to better themselves, the chance to make the situation right, because so many people lack self-awareness that once it's kind of presented to them and they come to that realization, they can be a lot better. So giving them the opportunity to change, even if like they refuse, well, then you know. If they refuse to make themselves more functional in the relationship, they refuse to make the relationship work for all involved, then you know your answer. Then you didn't jump the gun, you gave them the opportunity. And they denied it. They don't want to change. They don't want to make the relationship functional for both of you. Well, then you kind of have your answer.
To what we think is love, and it really isn't.
Yeah.
Or perhaps it is, and it's still not worth holding on to.
Right. While we're on this like topic, just since you already brought it up, like I definitely want to take a moment to like address the fact that the thing that most recently prompted what I'm sure is a regularly tumultuous regularly tumultuous relationship full of disrespect that is already like there. But the thing that really prompted this specific write-in was the doctor, right, that suggested that this person lose weight for the purpose of fertility. And it's first of all, like the whole science or the whole field of like fertility science, reproductive science, incredibly fatphobic space, like super
I was
fatphobic
going to say
space.
that. I was literally going to say that gynecologist.
Oh my fucking God. Please find the studies that show that weight has zero to do with fertility. Like, weight plays a big role in fertility, especially if you are morbidly obese. Like, it can make an impact. Now, granted, there's some other things that go into that, but they can be affected by weight. Hormones can be affected by weight, which hormones would affect fertility. Weight itself can create an undue stress on the body that makes the body unideal to carry a pregnancy, which clearly relates to fertility. Like, to just water it down to fat phobia is absolutely frustrating.
In my experience, are the most fatphobic of the specialists, at least of the specialists that I've seen. Like, gynecologists are by and large like the most blatant with their fatphobia, and like,
I mean, there's a reason why we know from research that there are plenty of fat people who do not get regular cervical checkups because of the fact that doctors do not want to perform those checkups because of their natural disgust for the fat body. And like,
and they don't know how to find it.
Absolutely.
I really don't like the doctors discuss. The doctor has seen, I guarantee doctors have seen things more disgusting than a fat person getting like a cervical checkup. Now, they may not be used to someone of that weight and may feel ill prepared, ill skilled to perform a checkup thing on someone of that size, especially since, I mean, I won't speak for recent medical school anything, but I'm pretty sure that that's not part of the general medical education of how to perform these procedures, these checkup services on someone of like significant size. So it's not necessarily fat phobia. It's the same way that someone that specializes in cardiology and does routine heart procedures on people ranging from maybe slightly underweight to those who are moderately overweight. If they have no experience with bariatric patients, if they have no experience with patients who are significantly underweight, like ED levels underweight, then it takes a specialized person to be able to perform procedures on people who are so far outside the realm of the average. So it's just because a doctor may be skilled in something doesn't mean they are skilled with someone that fits your parameters, you know?
Literally, I had this happen a month ago or in August where I went to the gynecologist for something that was unrelated to my cervix. It was like a completely unrelated issue. And she didn't have the proper equipment. She didn't have the proper speculum to find my cervix. And literally was like, oh, I can't see it. Yeah. And I'm like, you literally have one job. It's right there.
Well, I don't know if you guys were around for that.
It takes specialized equipment, though, for someone of your size. Not everyone is going to carry that because you are so far outside the norm. Like, I don't know to call this entitlement, a lack of knowledge, a lack of understanding that not everyone is going to have the specialized equipment for someone like you who's outside the norm in an exceptional way. Like, oh my God.
Moment where I wrote that like really long Twitter thread about my IUD. But like it took me for the insertion, it took 3 different visits, 3 different doctors. One that was apparently like special fellow of like fucking IUDs or some shit. Like literally an expert in putting in IUDs had to put in mine just because of the simple fact that I'm pretty sure it boiled down to them not knowing that with my body they would need a longer speculum. And then when I got an x-ray recently, like semi-recently to now, but recently at the time that I wrote that thread, I found out that they put it in like it's like sideways instead of the way it actually is supposed to be.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
yeah.
It's just wild because people, I mean, I made a post about it on.
Like, do you not understand that they had to call in an expert because you are outside the norm? The average doctor for even like specialized services isn't necessarily going to be so specialized that they can do it on any body. Like, you still require a specialized level person for your body type. And I mean, put in sideways, I'm sorry that happened. I don't think anyone is really to blame there. I think they did the best they could. I don't think that they purposefully were shoddy with it because you were overweight from the sound of it. They weren't prepared to help someone of your weight, and they did the best they could. Now, since you've discovered that, should they make it right? Absolutely. And maybe retry to insert the IUD and have it sit correctly. Definitely, even just for your safety, like, agree there. But I don't think that this was them being fat phobic. I don't think this was them not caring about your health or even being incompetent at their jobs. Thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts on this.
Instagram when that happened. And then I had people like commenting and being like, oh, well, like, that doesn't mean that she's fat phobic. It just means like XYZ. And I'm like, no, because it is fat phobic because I have had pap smears and cervical viewings before where this has never been a problem. But, you know, like if a doctor is not able to do their job on a fat person, that means that it is fat phobia. And it also means that they're a bad doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a couple of things here about just like,
I don't think that it means that they're a bad doctor. I think if they are listening to you, they're doing their best. Perhaps you are the first person of like significant obesity that they've ever dealt with, and so they did their best, and maybe the last doctors that you've been to had more experience with people of your size. I'm curious, the one that you went to for this, did you recently move to an area where maybe there aren't as many bigger people? Is that a possible factor? You know? Like, again, I don't think that it's anybody's fault in this situation, and I don't think that it makes them a bad doctor. I think that to expect um every doctor to have experience and knowledge to work on a bariatric level patient is a bit unreasonable. And I know it sucks that this is like an extra step that you have to take, but it's one of those things where maybe you should ask, do you have experience working on a morbidly obese patient?
Um, weight loss as just like a catch-all advice for anything. Well, but like, and particularly in this instance, is confusing because pregnancy innately brings weight gain. So the recommendation to lose weight so that you can only then gain it, which indicates that like your body is doing what it needs to reproduce life, is strange. But also there's this other level of like trust of doctors and the assumption that doctors know what the fuck they're talking about, which I think is very false, particularly with fatness, because
Oh, that sounds like some don't listen to doctors bullshit that I don't like. Also, depending on how big you are, like depending on how obese you are, it can cause the uterus to rupture, which is why they want you to lose weight before you get pregnant. Like, yes, there is going to be a level of weight gain with a pregnancy. But if you're already morbidly obese, it can be overly taxing on your system, especially your reproductive system. And there have been people that had their uterus rupture because their uterus could not withstand the stretching of the um, fetus growing inside them, along with their excessive weight on top. So just putting that out there.
they don't actually, like, doctors aren't necessarily actually taught about fatness in medical school. They're often enter medical school from a fatphobic culture, and then those fatphobic beliefs are reified through their training, or they're actively reproduced through fatphobic pedagogical practices.
So I'm gonna rewind this when I start. Next time we'll start with that, but we've reached the halfway point in this, and this is nearly a 50-minute long recording. So I'm gonna leave it here. And I was gonna talk about what I've been reading, but I'm like mentally exhausted now. So from listening to these people, the 20-minute long talk about donuts and shit was more than I could like. It's draining. So we'll finish this up next week for sure. But for now, I need a break. So thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. Let me know what you thought from some of their talking points. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think from what we've heard. And I will see you next time.